Her fingers slowly inched their way up her inner thigh, to the throbbing cleft of her pussy, just as Henry's had done all those years ago. She couldn't believe how turned on she was. "Mother, do you think they'll drop the bomb?" Roger called from the stereo and from somewhere deep inside her head. "Mother, do you think they'll sing this song?" Her fingers found their way into her waistband and felt the waiting wetness there. "Mother, do you think they'll try to break my balls?" She worked faster, feeling the pressure building in her stomach, remembering the way she and Henry had made love. "Ooh, oh, mother, should I build the wall?" She was asleep before the end of the verse. She awoke to the sound of the bedroom door opening and Henry stepping into the room. She sat up and beamed at him. He looked tired, but he beamed back. Henry was a high school English teacher and part-time science fiction writer. He hadn't published anything big yet, just some short stories in some sci-fi magazines, and one that had been featured on an internet fiction podcast. When he wasn't teaching it, he was writing it. He even spent an hour out of every day writing in a journal to keep his art at its sharpest. They had an entire bookshelf dedicated to his random musings. "What's up, gorgeous?" he asked her. "Nothin'," she said in the most childlike tone she could. "Just lying here, listening to Floyd, waiting for my man." He came over and sat on their bed, kissing her on the tip of the nose. She scrunched up her face in a way that he told her made him think of a rabbit. Little Rabbit, he sometimes called her. "How was work, babe?" she asked. "It's work," he said, pulling her onto his lap. He smiled, running his hands down her legs. You shaved for me." "Mm-hmm," she said, nodding. He rolled her onto her back, kissing her. "Just let me change into something more comfortable." "'Kay." He went to the closet, pulled out a pair of sweatpants that served as pajamas, and swapped them for his trousers. It was only 4 in the afternoon, but if they were going to be lazing around in bed, he wanted to be more comfortable. She took the pipe from the nightstand again, using her lighter to bring it back to life, and drew on it deeply. "You want a hit, baby?" she asked. "Sure," he said, and took a hit himself. "Would you mind rubbing my neck and back a little, hon? There's a knot I can't get rid of." "Sure," he said, sitting on the bed behind her and kissing the nape of her neck. "You stressed out, little rabbit?" She smiled at that. "Yeah, just work stuff." He began massaging her with his strong hands, his thumbs working deeply into the muscles where she couldn't reach. He always seemed to know just where she wanted him to touch her. He was the same way as a lover. They'd always had that kind of connection. "Tell me about it," he invited. "Well," she lowered her chin into her chest. "Do you remember that thing I told you about the other day with the paperwork mess-up?" "Yeah," he said. "Well, Ken put me on probation for it, and now it doesn't even look like I'm going to be able to be a part of that project over at Kettle Creek High. He says it's not a personal thing. They just want to make sure I know how to fill out the forms better before they put me on such a big job. It's bullshit. I've been on that project since the beginning." Ken Shaker was the fire inspection supervisor at her office. He was the sort of boss that came off as an all-around nice guy at first, but his affiliation was purely political. If it suited him or his department, he was behind it. He wasn't known for giving many second chances. As long as you could make him and his outfit look good, he was your best friend. "Whatever," Henry laughed. "You're probably better off not having to go into Kettle Creek anyway." "Why?" she asked. "Well, you know," he shrugged. "No, I really don't. Is it a bad area or something?" "No," he said. "There really aren't enough people in town for it to be a bad area." "Then what?" she asked. "You mean you really don't know?" She turned around to look at him. "Know what, Henry? You grew up around here. I'm from New Jersey, remember?" He shrugged. "Well," he said, looking a little embarrassed, "people say it's haunted." "Haunted?" she asked, smirking. "Come on! All right, look, he said, moving down to her lower back. All I know is there was a lot of weird shit that happened back there in the 60s. And that high school that your department is talking about, it didn't just burn down. Someone torched it. No shit? She asked, looking back at him again. No shit, he said seriously. Why didn't you tell me about that when I first told you about the job? Well, I know how you feel about fire and all. Yeah, she said, biting her lip. Anyway, it's a ghost town now. Hardly anyone lives there anymore. Though I guess they're trying to get people to start populating it again, right? Why else would they have rebuilt the high school? She knew there'd been a fire, and that the new structure was supposed to be more stable than the old one. But she had no idea that the place had been abandoned since the 60s. You don't honestly believe it's haunted, do you? She asked him. Well, you know I don't believe in ghosts. But I can honestly say I believe something weird must have happened there. Really? She asked. Yeah. When I was a kid, me and a couple of my friends went up to the high school. The only part of it that was safe was the foundation, but you could still get down into the basement and stuff. Did you see anything down there? See? No. But you could feel it. I know that sounds dumb, but you know that feeling you get when someone's watching you? Like paranoia? Yeah, she said. Well, it's like that. Only there's something else to it, too. Almost like a heartbeat or a throbbing. It filled the air, made your eyes water, and your gums itch. So what happened? Nothing, he shrugged. We got the fuck out of there. That's it? That's it. Trust me, that's enough. I can't even tell you how creepy that place is. Like there was something alive down there. He felt her shiver and put his arms around her. Hey, but we were kids, babe. Really. I'm sure I imagined it. Nothing to get your dander up over, little rabbit. She leaned back into his arms and sighed. I guess so. He kissed the back of her neck gently, sliding his hands down to sit on her rib cage. How's the neck doing? He asked her. She experimentally turned it from side to side. A little better, maybe, she said. Good, he said, kissing into the crook of her neck and shoulder. She moaned and leaned against him, putting her hands over his. He slid them under her shirt, making a diamond on her tummy, and then slid them up to cup the globes of her breasts. Her nipples grew hard at his touch, and she spun in his lap to face him. She took off her shirt and tossed it aside, kissing him full on the mouth, tongue twisting into his, and tit squashing against his chest. I love you, she whispered against his ear, and lowered herself down, lowering his pants. I love you too, he said, grinning, scooting back to accommodate her. And as soon as it was out, his stiff cock disappeared into her mouth. She knew that this was the easiest way to get him off, but she had different plans for him. After a minute of going down on him, she looked up, smiling. I want you to fuck me, Henry, she said, gently stroking his cock as it pressed into the valley between her breasts. I've been thinking about you all day. Yes, ma'am, he said with a mock salute, and reached into the nightstand drawer for a condom. As he brought it out, she caught his wrist. No condom, she said. I want to try again. But with the crap you're dealing with at work, sweetie, do you really think... I want a baby, Henry. I want your baby, she said, love and pleading in her eyes. I want to try again. How could he say no to that face? Henry threw the condom aside, and they tried again. You've been listening to Ambuscade, Book 1 of The Pain Chaser, written and performed by Patrick E. Malloy. If you like what you've heard, you can buy your own copy of the book at www.patrickemolloy.com. That's Patrick, the letter E, M-O-L-L-O-Y. All music for this production was written and performed by Raymond Jelly. And I'd also like to personally thank fellow writer-podcaster Nathan Lowell for all his help in getting this production started. Until next time, enjoy the nightmares.